how she got into the world of corporate learning, probably by mistake. I was working in the Royal Bank of Scotland in 1987, and in those days the bank was quite a paternalistic organisation. They used to tell you where you were going, and somebody decided they wanted to put me into corporate learning, so I ended up in the bank's training centre in Edinburgh, and that was my first experience of corporate learning. The thing that excites me about the job, particularly with good practice, where we are providing performance support for leaders and managers, is when we get a call from somebody who phones us up and says, "That was great, I used your content and your resources and it really helped me do my job." And when I see clients coming back and with their sort of user stories telling us about how it's really helped them, that's just fantastic. So I love that. Learning and development is really important, because actually learning and development is all about helping organisations close what I would call a performance gap. How we're performing now, how do we want to be performing in the future? Now, it's never a simple thing like you can't just put learning and development in place and that'll move you across that gap, but it's an important part of helping people's development, obviously, in terms of helping them make that step. So I think learning and development is really important in terms of just about companies' growth and about individuals growing and developing new skills to be able to do the jobs of the future. I think the main challenges that companies encounter is around seeing how it fits, and sometimes it's they jump to a conclusion that if they just do the training, it will make the difference. So sometimes a challenge I face is that we go into an organisation and somebody will say, we want to make our managers better. Our managers need training. What do you want them to be better at? Can you tell me what will they do differently after we've done the training? And sometimes it's about understanding that it's not just about the training or the learning, and maybe it's not even a learning issue, because it could be about the organisational systems, it could be about the motivation in that organisation, a whole range of things. So actually understanding the underlying cause of what you're trying to do and why you're doing the learning and development is really important. I think in a sense we've talked about some of that, just in terms of helping it succeed is by, again, giving it the capabilities to continue to improve, to adapt to we've got all this change that's always going on nowadays, and so as change and roles are changing and as the environment changes and businesses have to adapt to that, people's roles change and you have to help them adapt and change with that. Culture is a really important part of how you make sure that learning has an impact at work. If you support the learning and it's seen as being an important part of the overall role for somebody to learn and develop and grow into new roles, and that's supported by their line managers and expected, then people will learn better and they will apply the learning. If it's seen as being an imposition and something that we just have to do, then it often gets pushed down the sort of prioritisation. Or perhaps people get pulled off training because they're it's seen as not being important, and they're better to get on with the day job. So we know from research that if somebody is going to go on a training program, let's say, whether it's a classroom based or online, it doesn't really matter. If their manager sits down with them beforehand and says, and they listen, you're performing like this just now. This training is to help you do this new role, or perform this better than you're performing at the moment, then the person immediately is more engaged because they understand why they're going on the learning, what this learning is for. If after that learning experience, they then sit down with the manager and the manager says to them, how do you now feel about doing this new job or performing at this level? And they agree that they've now had all the learning they need. And the manager says, well, I'm going to hold you accountable to perform and do this job now because you've had the learning. The return on investment from that learning shoots up because people start to apply it because they know that the manager is interested and is going to be watching how they use that learning. So how the manager works with individuals in terms of using learning, the culture that the manager brings to that, I think is really important. I think it's still happening to an extent, but it is evolving, and the challenge that I think is there is around this piece about performance and what are we here to do, and not just as a learning teams taking orders from people and saying, "Look, my managers need more learning. Go and put them through some sort of management training program." Really sitting down with the business or the organisation you're working in and saying, "What are we trying to achieve? What is that performance gap we're trying to close? And let's talk about how we do that together, and what role learning should play in doing that." So some of my colleagues, a chap called Charles Jennings, who really looks at this quite closely and has published around this, and he talks about before you can start to design the learning, you have to almost be a performance detective, he calls it, going in and understanding what's going on around performance, why is it happening the way that it is, and working with your organisation to do that. And I think we've still got a long way to go to get that bit right. That's a huge question in terms of what makes a great learning experience, because a great learning experience could be something really simple, that just a checklist can be a great learning experience if it helps people perform better. If all you need is that checklist beside your screen in your PC that says 1, 2, 3, these are the 3 things, so make sure you do these every time, that can be a great learning experience. Just as much as something that's really profound, where somebody maybe goes in a more in-depth, let's say, management development program, and they get feedback from psychometric tools that makes them really help them understand themselves and understand how they need to change, and helps them see how other people see them. So you're holding up a mirror and then you're helping somebody change, and that can take time and people need supported. So it really does depend on what you're looking to do, and it can be something really simple or much more profound. I think there'll always be a requirement for some classroom-based learning. There are certain situations where you need to get people together, and you need to be able to give them feedback, and you need to be able to allow them to ask questions and discuss things, and you need that interaction. So I think we will never move away from that, as far as I can see. Augmented reality and VR is getting a lot of attention just now in leadership and management and in other areas. I think it depends how that's used. It's obviously been used, for instance, in flight simulators to train pilots. It's been used for a long, long time. Some of the headsets that are coming along are starting to change what you can do in terms of training people with the pragmatic things, like how do you maybe manage a machine or work a machine. How you use it around leadership and management, I'll be interested. And we haven't seen anything yet that suggests that you can really use it in that space. But people are early adopters are trying to make that work. So I'm going to be fascinated to watch how that comes along. The future of learning and development, I think, is much more around learning and performance, and actually learning professionals working with their organisations to understand what sort of performance are we trying to achieve and how can we help you. And there's so many tools out there. Technology is providing so many different ways of doing that, that it'd be about actually thinking about what's the right blend and how do I create that and how do I keep that fresh so that people are actually really, I keep going back to the same with performance gaps, but we understand how people are performing now, and we're working with them to help them perform at this different level in the future. And that can be a whole range of things. And getting that blend seamlessly put in place, I think, is the future. It's the future.